All right. I just want to welcome who has turned out to be a great friend of mine, Mike Jones, a dude with extremely great servant heart. And I'm just blessed to be associated with him. And we're just going to learn a little bit more about the man behind the beard.
There we go. I appreciate you having me on, man. And likewise, I'm glad to know you and proud to call you brother and friend and family. And, yeah, God puts people in your life for a reason. So,
That
yeah,
is the
glad to
truth.
be here.
That is
Thank
the
you for
truth.
having me.
That is the truth. Well, I mean, let's kick off with how it did this whole design journey start for you.
For my career,
Yeah, period. Like,
man, I've loved art ever since I could eat crayons. So, when you're eating them and drawing on the walls, and I remember I was a little kid, I'd be at my grandmother's house recreating like Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and whatever else cartoons I was into back then. I could just sit down and look at something and draw it. Now, as time went on, it got better.
right.
And then it became like, I just like being in art. This is fun. I can draw all right. I'm gonna keep this up.
Okay.
And then when I graduated at high school, I don't know, man. I mean, it was right when computers were becoming a thing, a daily tool.
Right.
That that's hard to believe,
Yeah,
but
I know, right? Like a
like
daily tool.
just coming around, and it was like IBMs were the thing, but yeah, I was in college. I started college, and I was just like, you know what? I love video games. I love art. What can I do with that? And that's before game design was real big.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, you know what? Graphic design looks, maybe I'll do that. And then I got into it, and I was like, yes, I dig this. This is fun. This is cool.
Right.
But not really. It really didn't have such an impact on me until I graduated and I started like learning from other mentors and people who've been doing it for 30 years. When I started learning about that and I got involved in communities and um, really got my first real job designing, that's when it started hitting me like, I love this. I want to do this every day. And then, you start building a community around it and you start really pulling in mentors that make a difference in your life and have something to teach you and realize that you're teachable. It just becomes it becomes a passion. So yeah, that's what I do for a living, but I love what I do every day. There's stress, but it's my stress. It's not somebody else's stress. So, I have worked for people, and I'm currently doing my own thing, running my own studio, and I prefer that. Gives me flexibility with my family, and also just I can do it my way. And that's kind of how it all went down.
Okay. So your own studio is called Serve Studios.
Yep.
So how's that going? Like, what should someone take away from Serve Studios, or like, what does Serve Studio represent?
Sure. So for me, serve's all about serving other people with the talents God gave me. So we kind of run under that First Peter 4:10 model. That verse the gist of it is take your talents God blessed you with and go out and use them to help other people and serve others and with those gifts. So I that's what I strive to do. We want to build relationships over earning a dollar. You got to earn a dollar to provide, and that's
Right.
just common sense. But I want to build relationships while I do it. I don't want to just be somebody's one-off. Oh, you did me a logo, and that's the last time I hear from them. Like,
Your hired gun.
like we want to keep up with you. How's your family? What's going on with you? Like more than just work. Like truly build relationships. And the more we do that, I think the more we can show people that the better work we produce.
But why is that? Like, what would you say your motivation is behind it? Like, because there's tons of studios out there. Why do you feel that you need to do it that way?
I feel like that's a call from Him. Like, I mean, everything I have and do and get to do, talent, all that. That's not from me.
Right.
God provided all that. So in the smallest of senses, it's just my way to honor Him and what He's blessed me with. Like He gave me that talent for a reason.
Right.
Well, I want to make sure that I'm not wasting it, or I'm not just using it for monetary gain or whatever. there's more to it than that. There's got to be more to it than that, in my opinion. So that for me is really why. Excuse me.
And you see, that's kind of like why me and you kind of click so much, because we have that in common, where kind of God is our North Star, kind of
Right, right.
our direction of it's bigger than just, okay, I love doing this, I'm gonna do it, it's gonna help me make some money. There's like a purpose through all of it.
There you go.
There's a
It gives
purpose.
me purpose.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And so to get to all of that creative stuff, now I've never been to creative stuff, and because of you, I'm gonna make it there this year.
Yep.
And but I've been around people that's been to creative stuff, and I've already felt the energy. So I am super stoked to be at creative stuff.
I'm
But
glad to have you, man. I'm stoked for you to experience it.
the crazy part is, like, I was kind of like going in the backlog of everything creative stuff, and I was so interested in, like, what made you start this.
Yeah.
I even saw like a Kickstarter page at some point. Like, I went way back
Yeah.
to kind of like so I like so I'm so excited to hear, like, what was the drive, how did this idea come about, all of that stuff.
Sure. Actually, back in 2011, I was really intrigued with this guy named Francois who ran Montreal Meats, and up in Canada. I was like, man, that's pretty legit. He's doing it right. And then I ended up going to WMC Fest that year up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Jeff Finley had started this movement up there. It was this rad festival with, at the time when he was running it, it had 20 speakers, 20 artists in a show, and 20 bands or something like that. And it was over the course of 3 days. And finally, I was like, I want to go. So my company that I was working for sent me up there, and I'm looking around going, dude, this is awesome. Like, this isn't, Cleveland's way bigger than Columbus in my mind. And I think it is, it legitimately is bigger. But I'm going, wow, yeah, let me just rephrase it. It is bigger city than Columbus. But, like, I got up there, and they have the section they had that WMC Fest in felt like home, And I was up there, and I was like, man, this is pretty legit. Like, why aren't we doing this? Why can't we do this in Columbus, right? So I got back, and that was my whole takeaway that year was, like, I need to go to more of these things, but I have a family. I don't want to drive to Atlanta. I don't want to drive to Birmingham. Why do we always have to have something in a big city? Why can't we? And there's reasons that things are in big cities, like logistics wise, airport, way smarter. But there's something about the charm of our town that I wanted to promote. And I reached out to a buddy of mine, and I said, hey, I want to do this thing, but I don't want to do it by myself. Do you want to help me? And he's like, yeah, let's figure it out. So we got together, did a little planning, had no money, had 2 speakers that we had to figure out how to pay for. And I think Adobe came in and gave us I think it was Adobe, gave us like $1,500. Wow. And we were just like, all right, cool. Now we can fly them in, we can put them up for our night, we can do this thing. So we had, back when it was started, it was called Columbus Creative Artist Roundup, right? The very first one, and it blossomed into Creative South. But the first one, we had 2 speakers, and we had it was a half a day event. Basically, it was like not a half day. It was like 9 to 4 or something, 9 to 5. It was, you know what I mean? Like, it was that stuff. So we had a few breaks, and we only had, the two guys talk for a couple hours and showcased their work and whatnot. And did a few giveaways, gave some swag, some hats and T-shirts to people. And we had 45 people show up, and we were like, this is the stuff. We did this thing, look at us. But honestly, dude, we didn't even. We had coffee and donuts in the back, and I don't even know if we paid for the lunch for our speakers, but I felt like we were on the right track to do something. So we came back, and we were like, next year, like, hey, if we don't go big, we got to go bigger this year. So the second year, we tweaked the name a little bit. I think it was called the Columbus Creative Design Conference, because we're trying to get all professional. And we ended up having about 65 people show up. We catered lunch. We had 4 speakers and gave swag away and all that. And it was fun, man. It was like, oh, all right, now this feels like something, but planned that one day because it was still a one-day event.
Okay.
It's just so much time away from family. So I told my buddy, I said, hey, I'm not doing this anymore if we can't go big. If we go big, I'll stay. If we decide we're going to do it just like this, it's just too much work.
Right.
So the third year, I had 20 speakers. We went from 4 to 20. 20. So yeah, I had 20 speakers on the hook, no venue, no money, no nothing. I have no idea how it was going to work out. And God just opened up the floodgates, man. And, I was like, Lord, help me figure this out. And He provided every penny, and He provided the place. We sold out the venue.
Wow.
We had it as at the same place we had it the year before, but we used all their spaces, the bar, the restaurant, everything. We filled it up. We had 200 people show up.
Wow.
And it started getting talked about on social media, like, hey, this is a cool little up and comer. Y'all need to keep an eye on this. You should be, keep watching this. So we had a little tiny vending area for the first time, and it was like, all right,
You're on to something.
Made it. We're here. We've got something going on, and it was 2 days long. So we added a day, and I was like, all right, that's what's up. And then every year after that, it just kind of doubled, right? So we went from 200 people to 430 to almost 6 to whatever. And anyway, fast forward, last year was year 6. We had 38 presenters, 15 workshops, or was it 15 workshops? Yeah, 10 or 15 workshops, and 800 plus people from 9 countries in 35 states. And we trended on Twitter at #1 for 15 and a half hours.
Wow. Insane.
God is good for sure. And
insane.
It is, man. It's humbling to go, what is going on, and now the planning, I opened up my mouth when I shouldn't have back a couple of years ago, and I'm like, if we don't go big, but now it's insane. The planning takes months and months and months. I mean, like, we start in August. I'm still scrambling now, and we're 70, I don't know, over 75 days out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That scares the crap out of me. But it'll all pull together. I've got meetings all week this week about it, starting to get the stage built, the set, and all that. And swag's been ordered, and some of it anyway. And there are flights and all that's about to be booked, and travel and all that. So it's coming together. It's just it's work, man.
So the cool thing about Creative South, it's not like any other conference, not even design conference. I mean, the slogan is. I
think it would be who you ask on that one. I think that would depend on who you ask. Some would say, it's just another conference.
You think so? Well, the people I'm around.
I think that.
The people I'm around. The slogan is what? Come as friends, leave as family.
Yep, Lenny came up with that a couple years back. And it's because, think about it. Think about it like this. On a day-to-day basis, I don't know about you, but I talk to other designers all day long,
right,
from all over the world, right? Because we have instant access to each other.
Right.
We're always like high-fiving each other on the internet, or, oh, I love your work, or, man, would you mentor me, or, man, you inspire me so much. And there's all this high-fiving everywhere.
Right.
But there's no FaceTime. There's no sit down, have a beer, break bread, hug your neck, pray with you, whatever. There's none of that on a ongoing. So my thought, the whole point of it now is basically, bring the community together, have FaceTime, get that intimacy going where people can have a meal together. They can sit down and talk shop face to face and admire each other in person. Show these folks Southern hospitality, because where I'm from, it's a real thing. And
yes, it is.
There's something about treating someone that way when they're here that they don't get anywhere else in any part of our country. And then letting them leave inspired to go do something bigger than what they're doing now. That's the goal. And I feel like we've come leaps and bounds, and we do our best to do just those things. And think we're doing a good job at it, and we always have room to grow, obviously. But yeah, I mean that's the vibe. I mean, I kind of equate it to this for people who don't understand what I'm talking about or have heard about it but don't really understand it. Think about it like this: it's like going to your grandma's house for Sunday supper, right? And she comes out and she welcomes you, and she hugs your neck, and she prays over you, and then you eat really well, and then you get to hang out with your cousins for like 3 days talking about cool stuff. Like that's
Gotcha.
vibe that I want to give out, right?
Gotcha.
That's what I'm trying to have. Or some people equate it like going to summer camp but never wanting to leave.
Right. Right.
You know, like I've heard that too.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like that kind of vibe, and I
It
think
does. That summer camp vibe is probably like that's probably the best example because
who doesn't want that?
it's so true. Because last year I wasn't there, but a couple of buddies of mine were there, so we decided to meet up, and I met up with them, and I mean that was kind of I wasn't even at the conference, and that's the vibe I got. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really, really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. And I see that you guys have an adventure plan.
Yeah, this year's a little different. Let's see. We decided that like how do we showcase our city a little bit better, right? So we decided to kind of go around to all these major places that would make sense that are near the venue, that are kind of near that area, that are really cool places that if you've never been to Columbus, you might not know about them at all, or maybe you've been, but you didn't have time to go do it, right? So we're offering limited 50 adventure tickets. And basically the ticket would cover your cost to go to the Infantry Museum, which is the National Infantry Museum, which is just an amazing place for our military history. And, we're near one of the largest bases in the world.
Right.
And Fort Bennington's in Columbus. So having that museum here and kind of showcasing like all of that is just, to me, is a real big deal. But basically they'll have breakfast there. They'll start at the Infantry Museum with a catered breakfast. They'll tour the museum. They'll leave there and ride down the Riverwalk on a bike tour to kind of through Oxbow Meadows, which is like a nature observatory type thing. And they'll ride over to that part of the ride will end at the Civil War Naval Museum.
Gotcha.
It's just Columbus Ironworks, which is the trade center now, used to build all the ironclad Civil War ships that you would see that were like covered in iron and like those war boats.
Oh, cool.
So this museum has pieces of those sunken ships that they've pulled out of the river in there, and a lot of old Civil War stuff. It's very intriguing just to see the memorabilia, but they'll have a catered lunch there, and then they'll ride from there to the zip line, which is right on the river. They'll zip line across the river a few times, do the high ropes course, zip line the shorter one on the other side, and then they'll be toted from there to Whitewater, and they'll get outfitted, and then they'll whitewater raft down the river twice, and then they'll end at like a wild game dinner that we're providing from this restaurant called Epic.
That's the name of the restaurant?
It's called Epic.
Mm.
And it's fancy stuff. Fancy. That's a date night place. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like, it's date night. But anyway, and then we've got this island right there on the river that has a bridge that you cross over to it, and we've got it reserved for s'mores and just kind of hanging out by the fire on the river at night. And then the next day you'll get invited to it includes an invite to the VIP dinner so you can mingle with all the speakers and workshop presenters and staff and whatnot.
Okay.
So, it's a good 4 meals and dessert. And so it's just an adventure,
Right.
See some of the cool things we had to offer. And really it's for team building. Like bring your team, go do all this with your team and have a great day of it. And then after all that fun, you still get to go to the conference.
Right.
Because your conference ticket is included. Like, the thing is, you're really just tacking on to do all of those things with all that food and everything. You're tacking on about $400 extra to your ticket price to do all those things. So it's really not that much. To me, it's a great deal to come see a lot of what Columbus has to offer. So we're excited to offer it. I hope people would buy it, and I'm pushing it because I want people to see what we got. And it's limited. It's only 50 people. So
Yeah, that kind of keeps the closeness too. If it's not too much
right?
people. Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, with Creative South, it's kind of like you guys have, between you and your team, the conference has taken on the personality of you and your team, which is super cool. But my thing is, I know it hasn't always been smooth. So what would you say is like, since the journey has begun, what would you say was the greatest struggle?
Oh man, for Creative South,
Yeah, just
the
getting
greatest
this. Yeah,
struggle,
yeah.
the greatest struggle every year is diversity.
Mm,
Yeah, that to me is the one thing that is always at the forefront of everybody's mind, and something that we try to work on every single year. And honestly, the lineup, picking the lineup is it's a job. It's a
mm,
thankless job, and it's not easy. None of this is easy.
right,
But just that, and making sure you have enough funding coming in to pay for it. I
right,
mean, those are the two biggest hurdles I think that any conference promoter has to deal with is, are you being mindful of everyone? And can you afford to do these great things you're doing, and being a good steward of the money that you do have coming in? And I mean, it's tough. You want
right,
to do some really cool things, and you're like, we just can't. Or you do it, and you're like, why do we do that?
right, right, right.
You're always gonna second guess yourself even at the end. But I mean, honestly, that's part of it, because we're humans, and we're always learning and always growing.
Totally. So, in regards to you now and just growing the Mike Jones brand, because I mean, believe it or not, man, like everybody knows you, and everybody knows.
Everybody does not know me, and I don't care if they do. I don't need to be in the spotlight
Right,
ever.
right.
I'm just here being a helper.
And because of that, everybody gravitates to you because you make it very. You're not too high up there. You know what I mean? You're not like,
Yes.
and you make yourself accessible to people, and you're willing to serve people. And I think more than anything else, that's what kind of sets you apart. But I know it hasn't been easy for Mike.
No, no, it hasn't. And I feel like that's what we're called to do, though. I feel
Right,
like, serving others and being accessible
right,
is just a way that we can share God's love in an easier manner, right? If I was just like, I'm better than everybody, or I
right,
have this or have that, then like nobody wants to hear anything I got to say,
right,
But and maybe other people don't want to hear what I have to say, and that's fine too. I don't look at myself as like anybody. I'm not better than anybody else. I just want to serve other people any way I can with what I have, when I have it, to the best of my ability, and love on them. Because if I'm showing them that little bit of God's love, just that littlest, tiniest bit, and that plants a seed, and then it grows. You know what I mean? Like somebody comes behind me and shows them a little more, and hardened hearts get changed that way. So it's like, just I'm doing the best I can do. I do my part, and hopefully, I impact somebody's life. That's the way I look at it. As far as me, yeah, last year was rough for my family, but
I hear
you know,
you.
you go through trials, you come out better for it, and you keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's all you can do. If you do anything else, you'll be setting yourself back.
Right?
Yeah,
I
which is
agree with
true,
that.
which is true, which is true. Now, I didn't plan this, but I want to touch on it a little bit. The retreat, just a little bit. Are you
Yeah.
going to the retreat, right?
Which one?
For your church?
The marriage retreat.
Yes,
Yes, dude. I'm stoked about that.
yes.
I'm
Yeah.
going, what is he talking about? Which
Yeah,
retreat is he talking
yeah, yeah. All right, my
about?
bad.
You just got to be specific, because it could be any number of things at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my church has a awesome marriage retreat that is open to any couple. And basically, we go down to Disney for a couple of days without the kids. We have classes in the morning with the pastors, and we just talk about the better things to better your marriage. How to recognize each other's love languages. How to I mean, dude, when your pastor is up there talking about sex, you listen. Two, you can't help but to giggle a little bit, even because
Because
I mean,
it's just.
simple, man. You know, But you're getting this biblical good way to just like, how do you treat your spouse the right way? How do you um, recognize each other's differences and work through it? Excuse me. There's a lot of just great information, and for us, for me and my wife, it's just a good way for us to recharge. It's a good way for us to reconnect, and we don't bring the kids. They don't like us for that because we're going to Disney without them. But you
Oh
know what?
yeah. Yeah, we're struggling with that. We're struggling with that right now too. We're struggling with that. They're like, "Oh, where are you guys going?" I'm like, "We're going on a retreat." They're like, "Can we come?"
Dude, I'm so stoked that you're gonna be there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we're gonna have fun, and the rest of the time, it's just you and your spouse either hanging out with other people that you go to church with to get to know them better,
Right.
or like with you guys, like just getting to know people that are there that don't even go to church with us,
Right.
and just be able to like share that Disney adventure, like, and then
Yeah.
a lot of times it's like you might not be hanging out with anybody but your husband or wife, and then you're out having a good time together.
Right. I told
No,
my
for us, it's like we don't look at the bill. We just go. We
right.
put enough. We know
Right.
kind of like we set aside this much for us to have a good time. Let's just go. We get the wristbands. They give you these wristbands now, and you
Hmm.
can just like swipe them at everything. Like if you want to go eat somewhere, just like put it on my bill. And you
Oh,
don't have to
okay.
carry your purse or wallet or anything. It's
Oh,
all
okay.
like tied to your account.
Oh,
So the
okay.
cool thing is, we'll just go. Like, you want to go get ice cream? Cool.
Swipe, swipe.
Ice cream. And then at the end you're going, holy crap, we ate a lot of ice cream. But for us, it's just a great way to recharge. We missed last year's because my wife's dad passed away
Yeah.
right around the
Right.
same time.
Right.
So it
Right. Right.
just we had to we got our refund, and we didn't get to recharge last year, and it's affected our whole year. I mean, not that was one of the biggest things that affected it because it was like that was a hard thing to go through.
Right. I could
My
imagine.
wife's younger than me, and her dad is younger than my dad, and I mean I think he was 65 when he passed, and that's like right when you're getting ready to do your retirement and enjoy
Yeah.
your grandkids, and
Mm-hmm.
he had a really debilitating disease called MSA,
Mm.
which is like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and something else that's really like Lou Gehrig's all mixed together. It's horrible, and there's no cure. And you watch some guy who's literally playing golf on the weekends and shooting baskets in his backyard go from that within a matter of a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, maybe more, maybe 3 years, uh, basically moving your thumb and on a ventilator. I mean, like,
Mm.
it shut down your body, and
Yeah.
but your mind is still
Still
100%. So, like,
intact.
can you imagine what that is like for
Yeah.
somebody that's going through that to be, you know, to be, to deal with it, and then to watch how somebody that you love go through that, even for me, I mean, was rough. So we had to deal with that, and then job stuff, and with my wife, and all kinds of things
Right.
this past year. So we're glad 2017 is here.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing how God moves things forward and blesses us, and opportunities and doors open, and that He's got coming up. So, yeah, the marriage retreat is going to be a good facilitator of getting us back on track.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
God, it's gonna be so rad, dude. You're gonna love it, man.
I told my wife, because we've been to Disney before. So I
Yeah,
told my wife that this time we are going as the kids.
that's it. You said it just like that. Now there will be people that bring their kids down there and leave them with a nanny
Hmm.
during the classes, and then take them out in the park, and
Gotcha.
that's fine. Each their own. For us, it's just like
Yeah, we need that.
we're gonna be
We need
we
that.
want to be together and just have
Yeah,
fun. So
yeah,
so we're gonna yeah, man, that's coming up quick, man. It's in March,
yeah. It's literally around the corner.
literally around the corner. Did you? Hey, just out of curiosity, just totally off subject. Did you guys book your food yet? So look, dude. I'm gonna share a really good tip. I've only done this a few times. Download the My Disney app to your phone.
Hmm.
Get all your reservation information put in from the conference they sent you on the email,
Hmm.
and start booking your reservations to places you want to eat at. And I can give you a ton of good ones if you don't have any. But yeah, do that because you'll be able to track all that stuff from your phone.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna check it out then.
And shit me up about that after the fact. Totally off subject. Sorry.
No, that's all
What
good, man.
else?
Well, man, I appreciate the time out. I mean, I gotta let you go. Um, But man, it's been awesome, man. And
Always.
we
Thanks.
look